Greetings, folks. What do I usually say? Greetings, folks. Steve here. And Matt. And we are working on the Lexus once again in the shop. We need to get this thing to race, and it's just not, well, it hasn't worked so far. So we're not giving up. We're here tonight to dissect the dump valve, basically. So I got a much better understanding of how the dump valve works, and what I've learned through my research is, what we already knew is that the lower cooler port is the same circuit that feeds fluid to the torque converter, okay? That we knew. But evidently there is something that transmission builders do in some cases to modify that circuit, which is to install a restrictor in the oil pump through a little hole that's there. So I don't know if there's a restrictor there right now. The transmission was built when we bought it, so we don't know what's there right now. What we do know is our solenoid is not dumping off enough pressure for it to make any difference. Really, actually, we're not even sure if that's the case or not, so that's what we're here to find out. Right now we got Matt installing a T with the oil pressure gauge into our cooler line, and so we're going to see what kind of pressures we're getting there. My understanding is what we should see there is something between 50 and 100 PSI. I think probably halfway between that would be ideal. Something like 60, 70 PSI would probably be ideal. At which point we can energize that solenoid and see if our pressure drops. The drop in pressure should be at least 50%. If we don't see half the pressure go away, then that means we have too much volume, which means our restrictor that's in the pump is likely not big enough. Yep. If we do see that drop, well, then I don't know what we're gonna do. I don't know what that means. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and get some pressure reading to see if we can get a better idea of why our system is not functioning like it should, and go from there. You know, if we've already decided, if it comes down to it, we're gonna pull the trans on. We're gonna change the restrictor in it, and you know, if that happens, then we'll have lots of video to show you that. Yeah. But let's get a pressure test and see what it does.
Good. I'm seeing 0 pressure increase. Oh, there it goes, finally. Wow, that takes a second.
What's that?
It is at less than 10 PSI. Power brake. Did you hit the dump valve?
Oh yeah, actually, yeah. It would have come on.
Yeah, it worked. It was going all the way up to, it was about at 50, and as soon as it came on, it dropped back down to 10.
Really?
Right down now, like idle pressure. Yeah.
Shit, I guess let me turn it off and let's see what kind of difference we get.
Okay.
Alright, hold on.
So we neglected to disable the dump valve in Tuner Studios, so the Megasquirt actually activated the dump valve. So here we shut off the dump valve operation and retest to see what kind of results we get.
Does not. Alright, the dump valve disengaged. It's only going to like 42. It's only going to like 42. It does sound low.
What effect do you think that would have on the way the converter works?
That's what I'm wondering, yeah.
Maybe it has too big of a restrictor in it.
Think so?
It's just weird that it's actually the exact same at 50, 40 PSI as it is at 10.
Yeah, I mean, what else in the transmission could cause the pressure to change so drastically from stock? I think that's what we need to explore. Does Corey know anything about this transmission?
No. Well, that's a little... I didn't expect these results.
Yeah. Huh.
Well...
Back to the drawing board.
Yeah, let's think about it for a minute. So I thought we were going to achieve something tonight. At least we had a plan to maybe get some stuff done. But what we have determined now, given that our pressure on the foot brake is like 42.
It's like 42. I thought I said climbing towards 50 when I first did the video, but I think it was probably right about that where it stopped the first time too when the dump valve activated. And it's dropping all the way back down to idle pressure, like less than 10.
Yeah.
As soon as it activates.
So it's actually working.
But we have low pressure in the transmission.
We're finding that 40's a little low, I think, according to what I've actually been reading. What we want is something probably closer to 60.
That's kind of the minimum that people were saying we should be looking for is 60. All the way up to 100 is safe. So
yeah. And so we're a little low, but to like pull the pump out and remove restriction, obviously it has a restrictor in it, I think. To remove the restrictor and increase flow, that's not going to solve our problem at all. It might even make it worse.
Right.
So,
and we've had issues with going into reverse ever since we got the torque converter redone.
We should try more fluid. Maybe we get the trans brake working too.
Yeah, and maybe we're just blowing through the converter, you know? Like fluid's just passing right through.
Blowing through the converter would feel like a slipping clutch. RPM would just keep going and the car.
Oh, okay, I get what you're saying.
Feel like it was slipping.
Yeah. Okay.
So basically what I'm chalking it up to at this point, we've done our pressure readings. We've checked all the boxes.
The dump valve system seems to be working exactly as it should.
The dump valve's doing what it's supposed to do. I think we have a torque converter issue, which isn't hard to believe looking at this thing. You know, I don't know if you guys remember what it looks like, but it's like big diameter on one side and small diameter on the other side, where the Toyota and the GM torque converter sizes were a lot different. And a larger diameter torque converter, my understanding, is a lot tighter than a smaller one. So the GM one is at least a couple inches smaller in diameter. So PTC had to like step down to it. And what they built works, but I think, it's something
it's limiting what we can do.
Something that they did at the inside could have an effect on the way the torque converter handles a dump valve also.
That thing a couple times for us too, so who knows how much they changed.
I think we're gonna have to probably just cut our losses on that and just either have Brangers or ATF make us a converter, which is gonna cost a lot.
A fortune, yeah.
But man, I think it's the next step, honestly. But the car's running great. You know, I drove it in this morning.
Running really good.
I was getting on some rolling two-step. You know, the two-step set to like 4,200, and then just kind of get on it on the road, and it feels peppy. You know, it feels good. It's not making a whole mess of power right now. I think we're only on like 15 psi, but everything else with the car is good. So I think what we do now, I would like to
add some fluid to it.
I want to add some fluid to it and hook the trans brake back up and see if maybe increasing our transmission capacity will help us get our trans brake working. Because the issue with the trans brake is sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. It seemed to work better after we added fluid last time.
Yeah, adding fluid helped both our reverse, which is the same way. It kind of sometimes it feels like it's slipping in and out of gear. So we're gonna try to increase the capacity, put the car back to the way it was, get the trans brake wired back up, and we'll just keep the dump valve disconnected for now because it's not doing anything for us. And we'll just do that tonight and see what else we can tidy up on the car. It was actually a little bit low this time, probably from disconnecting the cooler hoods and screwing with the dump valve last week. So we added a quart in it. I got it in the middle of the full mark on our universal Turbo 400 dipstick tube that we got from Jegs. Now we just put another quart in it just to give it a little bit of extra and see if we can get our trans brake to keep working. So usually the trans brake will start acting up once the engine gets hot. We'll see if this will help us keep it, and also see if reverse is going to work properly. All right, so these cells here, these little red guys with 25 in them, those are the cells we sit in when we're up on the trans brake. So I'm just going to keep throwing time in at that and see how much it will yield us in not only RPM, but boost. And then once we get to kind of like as high as we think it's going to go, watching the knock indicator, of course.
Yeah.
Once we get it as high as we think it's going to go using timing, then we'll try to start using the two-step and maybe see if the two-step's going to get us a little further. That's the plan, Stan. You ready? good. 25. Let's jump it up to 27. What do you say?
Yeah, log it.
Yeah. Nice.
I don't think that changed too much.
I don't think so either. Should we try a little more?
Okay.
I mean, before we give up, we might as well try hard.
No knock?
No. Let's throw that bitch to 30. See if it likes it.
He started moving a little bit. It seems to like it.
Transmission's starting to feel like it was before. Should we check the level, you think?
What do you mean like it was before?
Like where the trans brake's not holding well and the reverse isn't working that well.
Okay.
Let's check the fluid real quick. Alright, so we finished up working on the car and decided to come out and check out Crawfish Fest here in Salina. Huge crawfish event.
It looks like it was a lot of fun.
It looks like it was a ton of fun, but all the vendors have closed up. There's
Yeah,
no more
we
beer or
missed it.
crawfish. We totally missed the whole show. And the messed up thing is I gave Matt two choices, yellow belly or crawfish, and he chose crawfish. Soaking it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know if we would have gotten any passes at yellow belly anyway, but car drove good. We got some good rolling footage. But that is going to do it for this week. So thanks for watching, everybody. Tune in next week. Like and subscribe. We'll see you later.